Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of WrestlePurists Worldwide, episode 27. Hosted by myself, Joe Hulbert, Ibu of WrestlePurists, better known as Backup Hangman, and Manny the Hooper. We're just going to get right into it today because news has just broke that CM Punk was backstage at Raw for a little while. This is according to PW Insider. Yeah, the first time CM Punk's been backstage at WWE for a while. We don't know what he was doing there. Probably just seeing the boys, or I don't know what he was doing. I'm not sure if he was expecting it to leak out like this, but it has. PW Insider have exclusively reported it. And Ibu,
yeah,
your thoughts?
Well, thank you everybody for typing into the WrestlePurists Worldwide show. As you guys are filing in, I just want to thank you guys for being here and make sure to like and subscribe and super chat and all that good stuff. My thoughts on this are, I was told he was going to visit Raw. I thought it was a joke. And look, Phil's going to do what Phil's going to do. What do I honestly believe that's what he's going to do. They're in Chicago. Fuck it. If you want my honest opinion, I honestly think he went to Levesque and was just kind of like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what's going on with you guys? How much money could you give me when my fucking deal is up? And like, how's everything been? I think he just genuinely was just checking the temperature. Yeah.
Joe, how are you feeling about this business?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Professional wrestling content. That's
what we do.
I wish we were live when that news broke because we had an incredible 30 seconds. Just like, wait, what? Is it Vince? Wait. Everyone's got a bit baffled, but it's all shenanigans, and I think the fact it's already out there. I think Phil's telling on some way or another, but Vince kicking him is one of the funniest possible elements to this story. It's funny in itself, but Vince kicking him is like, you couldn't write shit as incredible as this. Quite the ordeal.
I fucking wish I couldn't say this on the air.
So don't say anything then, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Look, anyway.
I think so it's been reported by PW Insider that Vince has made some changes to Raw. I have a theory because Vince has left Triple H.
Theory.
Vince has left Triple H alone for like what my math, for 5 consecutive WWE TV shows between Raw and SmackDown. He's just left him alone, and I don't know he changed here. I have a theory. I think that Hunter told his dad, CM Punk is here. Is there anything you'd like me to say to him? Is there anything you'd like to offer him? What should I do? CM Punk is in my backstage area. And I think Vince said, fuck you, fuck him, tell him to get the fuck out of here. What are you doing on Raw tonight? Read the lineup, saw Ali Gable, went no. He saw Legato versus the Bloodline, said fuck no. Who is Joaquin Wild? Threw in an Omos match and said, tell Phil to get the fuck out of my building. So, yeah.
Manny, you've been deeply concentrating on something. Is everything good? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I now believe the story because Dave Meltzer tweeted about it. So,
but do you have a reaction or something for?
Not really. I mean, it's just CM Punk being crazy. I mean, just putting his
guys, check
his balls on the table.
Check what I just. That's real.
You've made Joe go off screen, bro. Look what you. Look.
That's
back
real.
now. The professionals back. Yeah. Anyway, you know what?
This has to be Punk. Just like, bro, Warner Brothers loves me. They made a whole show just for me. TK ain't gonna do shit. Here's my balls on the table. I'm gonna do whatever I want now. So.
That's real wrestling right there,
He's
bro.
A fucking gangster, bro. He's a fucking.
I don't know, man. It's not really the best time for him to go and go see old friends. The timing's not great,
He should have did this in November.
Yeah, it's a timing thing. Because one of the things that I first immediately thought about, like, as much as we're pop for it, and I know Joe was about to pop me whatever he was about to just say. I know that for a fact. One of the things that came to my mind is that all the people that are like Punk detractors, the agendas, whatever it is, or just the people that just don't like him and the big AEW fans, they're going to look at that and think like, is this guy for real? You know, all the news has just come out that he's coming back. There's been a date which we're going to get into. You know, you hear that he's going to have a lot of control with Collision and be a big part of that, etc., etc.
Yes.
And this is the time he decides, like, oh, I'm going to go visit Raw, you know? And it seems harmless on the surface, but you know that people are going to pick it apart for months and months and months. And it's
Well, you
just,
know what? You know what I have to say to that,
you know.
Monty? I'm going to break a lot. I'm going to reveal to a lot of wrestling fans just how not real Santa Claus is. Let me pull back the curtain, everybody. A lot of your favorite wrestlers communicate with the other side. It's why when the Tampergate stuff came out last August, the reactions to it made me fucking laugh. Because you know,
Yeah, but they weren't backstage at Raw, you know?
Here's the thing, Monty. They weren't backstage at Raw, but you know who was at the Rumble? Ricky Starks. And that's only known because he was caught. Hold on. He got caught. Dolph Ziggler shows up at Dynamite. All right? I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to play the game. But I'm just going to say this. All these wrestlers talk to the other sides constantly. It's literally something that happens all the time. You know, Kevin Steen did it, and numerous of the wrestlers. The thing is with Phil is because he's fucking insane. He's just doing it and saying, "I don't give a fuck if you find out." That's the difference with him and everybody else. He's gonna do it, wave out at people, fucking hold a sign and shit, and be like, "Yeah, I'm at Raw. What are you gonna do about it?" You know, so it is what it is.
It's different for different people, though, isn't it? Everything's case by case. Like the people that you mentioned, so for example, Dolph, like people will make the excuse for him. Also, it's not as much of a big deal because it's not as much of a big name, you know. Especially with like he's not in a sensitive situation with the company that he's employed by either at the moment, you know. But again, people will make the excuses for Dolph, you know, because obviously, you know, he's got family there and stuff like that. And what was the other one you mentioned? Ricky Starks. Everyone knows that Ricky's like, you know, idolizes Cody. They're very close, so people can like, you know, people. But to be honest, bro, people cooked Ricky Starks for that. You know, people were all over him for that for a few days. So
I made a wanted poster for him.
You did.
Yeah, Manny was fucking on the Photoshop. It was
It has been confirmed to me that Punk wanted to have a conversation with Paul Levesque, and before Paul Levesque did the conversation, he called his dad to make sure if it was okay, and within minutes, Punk was escorted out by security.
So yeah, that's
sorry,
a little.
folks,
That's the backup hangman. That's the backup hangman little.
We're all making
little
jokes
tidbit
about
in
this,
the news, you know.
Where was Tyler Black in this whole thing, man? He said he was gonna beat up CM Punk on site.
But
he was in his home
by the
territory.
way,
He showed up in his
Monty,
backyard.
Monty, I was joking about it. I think this is literally when Raw got changed. I think.
That isn't.
He was like, this guy's getting too comfortable, you know.
Actually got Raw changed without even intending to. That is incredible.
It's like, what type of show are you running? Why is CM Punk in my locker room? And once again, looked at the run sheet and said, Ali versus Gable.
God, pro wrestling is awesome. God, I love it.
I don't know. Incredible. The whole thing I'm just confused about is just like, I mean, probably Punk's doing all this just to like, he can go to Tony says, this is what they're willing to offer me or whatever if I go back. But I mean, I don't really know what he's trying to accomplish. I mean,
the thing is, he's got plenty of time. Whether he wants to go to WWE when his deal's up anyway, he's got plenty of time left on that AEW deal. So I mean, I just think the timing of this is just, you know, it's funny as fuck. Don't get me wrong, you know. You know, it's good content, and we make wrestling content. Awesome. So you know, it's what it is, man.
Man, I still can't get over this Tyler Black element, man. He was.
What are you? Bro, you're not a real person, bro. What are you?
Bro, Seth was never going to do anything to him. Bro.
First, he found out that he was wrestling almost on Twitter, and then now he let Punk walk into his backyard, man. And nasty 2 weeks for him. I wish him the best though.
Someone in the comments said there's a video of Punk chatting with Tamina.
That rules.
Tamina did give him a big hug, you know.
Shout out to me.
So...
Anyway, though, because I ain't dropped it yet. Please like, subscribe, and super chat if you're feeling generous. Always appreciated. And we're going to get to some of those right now. Starting off with Darren, $4.99. Appreciate you very much. I have to redeem the name Darren after that super chat about all this. If he was in AEW, he'd pop sickos like Joe and I, but he would not be a draw. This is in reference to this super chat from another Darren Walker, £5. Appreciate you. Last week, Monty laughed at Joe when talking about Nick Aldis. A week later, Impact gets its best rating for 12 months. If Aldis is on AEW, he draws millions. Joe,
the numbers told a story last week. You know,
what were the numbers? I don't keep up to date with the Impact TV
Impact
ratings. To
did around 650k on TV.
No, they fucking didn't.
What? Which is around 550,000 more than they usually do.
No, they didn't, man. Who's got the real number?
Aldis quarter hour came in just shy of 1 million. And, I think we're going to learn a lesson here about real professional wrestlers and what it means to be the world's champion. It matters, Monty. I told you that. You laughed at me, but some credibility.
I did.
Some credibility.
650 sounds a bit like
yeah, it was close to that.
Slight inflation, but I'll let you have it. I'll let you have it.
CM Punk was asked to visit this Raw by members of the WWE locker room, and that's what he relayed to Paul Levesque. He was just, hey, people wanted me to pass by. Is that all right? Am I allowed to do that? Can we talk?
Fucking Gallows, man.
The devil lay. Could you imagine Phil walking up to Seth like, "What's up, buddy? How's it going?" Oh my god, bro!
This is a pretty good plan on his if he planned this and just I'm not going to be on Collision after all, like a good fake out.
The timing is really hilarious from Punk's perspective because he's done this after it's become very clear that he's actually coming back and getting his own show. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro.
There's no sense of desperation for him at all. He's just...
Bro, I got to be honest with you.
You haven't been on this before?
This is... Hold on. Oh, my phone is blowing up. Jesus fucking Christ.
Bro, you're on a podcast, Unless you're getting scoops. I ain't trying to, giggling away at your phone. We're on a podcast, man.
The thing is, I am, but it's just like, I'll read one of them.
You can do it after, Jesus, man.
I'm sorry.
Think of the people,
Okay,
think of the
my
house.
apologies to the listeners, but look, I'll tell you guys this, man. Is this guy fucking nuts? Yes. But I'm sorry, guys. Like, this is what I need, like wrestling is so fucking just like standard and it just the shows happen and people come in and do their jobs against who they want to work, and the matches happen and you get this is awesome chance, but where are the real fucking maniacs and disruptors in the business? Like Brian Pillman was so fucking nuts that he worked his promoters. And CM Punk to me is he keeps wrestling on its toes in every way, shape, and form. His employers, his co-workers, the other promotion, the dirt sheets, the reporters, myself. It's great, I just think it's great because without him, this business would be so fucking boring.
Listen, he is messy,
As fuck.
That what meme was it, bro? When it was like, it's something like, "Who's the messiest bitch?" It's a man, ain't it? CM Punk, bro. CM Punk. He's messy, bro. He's just drama, It's just drama. It's never quiet being a CM Punk fan, bro. Even when he was gone for 8 years, people wouldn't show up about him. So,
That's
Yeah,
power.
the people just love him, bro. People just love him. He's iconic, for better or for worse.
A fucking renegade.
He always brings the drama, man. It's gonna be an interesting next few months with this collision stuff and this, and yeah, we'll see how we.
Bro, that video of CM Punk is so shady. He looks like he's buying drugs or something, man. He just he just hugged Tamina, and then she walked off, and he just standing behind a car, just like and looking around with his hat down. Like, come on, bro, what are you?
Bro, it does look mad sketchy. Like it's this weird like backlot fucking meetup.
It's called Chris posted the video.
I saw a tweet that said would happily watch a 3-hour documentary on the 5 minutes CM Punk spent backstage at Raw tonight.
I'm gonna tell you right now, you don't want to do that. A 3-hour documentary is long, man. Right now, I'm sitting through a 9-hour documentary on Star Wars.
Dijak is crying. Dijak tweet. Dijak said, "You know who else is backstage at Raw? A bunch of hardworking talent who bust their ass every week for your entertainment. Enjoy the show. Sounds like a huge one."
Oh man, this is
a
lot of breaking news, man. A lot, because the first was the Mercedes thing, and then there was the Vince thing. And literally, as we were about to hit live, fucking Punk decides to show up backstage at Raw. It's there's videos. Fucking it's super chats. Showtime Spurs. This one's for Ibu. $2. Appreciate it. So how about them Knicks? How about them
Spurs? I am seeing orange and blue skies, brother. You know, we are a franchise that for the longest time have been mired in futility. And right now we are on the verge of entering the second round. And it's all thanks to Jalen Brunson. It's all thanks to the inspired play from guys like Josh Hart and RJ Barrett. I'm so proud of this team. They're silencing doubters. They're silencing so many fucking people. The New York Knicks are playing beautiful ball, and I'm ready for us to win the championship.
Anyway, Ricky Starks.
Oh my god.
Ibu, I just realised with a new Saturday night show, we can finally spend Wednesday nights and Saturday nights together. Things are finally working for us. Bro, that reply to that picture you posted
was fucking great.
So for those of you that don't know, Ibu posted he took a little selfie for the timeline. He does it from time to time. I think it's very scary when he does it. Bad vibes. But so I can't remember who it is or what I'll chat about, but someone replied to it. It's like, you with Ricky tonight or something like that. And he's got, oh man, good stuff. Ricky Stars. We have good bits on this channel. Jacob Donnelly, $5. Don't care what anyone says. Angry Petty Phil is the best Phil.
It's hard to argue with that. It's hard to argue.
It has been said, Murph, of course, of the Don't Go Live show, which will be on tomorrow. Shout out him, 199. CM Punk is worse than Pol Pot and Leopold combined. I think that's a bit of a stretch, brother, Rob on Purist, $2. Appreciate you. Punk cheating on April with Tamina. # Johnny for WHC. I think we need to chill out. Jay Blood, $4.99. Appreciate it. Dude walked in and slapped it down on a stack of rewrites. Good stuff. Isra, of course, First Lady of WrestlePurists, $1.99. Appreciate it as always. She says pathetic, probably aimed at Ibu. Of course, not the rest of us. Anurag, I hope I got that right. 44 something. I don't know what that currency is. Excuse me. Will we ever see Brian as AEW World Champ?
No.
That feels so random amongst all this. But
to be fair, that's a wrestling question.
Yeah, an actual real professional wrestling question. I appreciate it though. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I agree with Manny. I don't think we see it, man. I think I don't want to say it would have happened by now, but it wouldn't feel as far away as it currently does. at this point if it was ever going to happen. I don't think, you know.
He doesn't seem interested in being the AEW World Champ, and I'm like, that take that how you will, but it just doesn't seem like how he wants. At this point, in his career, he wants to just do his thing, right, and pop himself.
Indian rupees, I've been told this is. So appreciate the 44 rupees, brother.
Hopefully, it happens.
Yeah, of course, I'd be all for it. When he faced Moxley for the title, I was that's who I wanted to win at that point, you know. Because Moxley had already had like 2 rounds at that point, I think 2 or 3 rounds, you know, and yeah, just the idea of Brian having the world title and just like wrestling like quite frequently with it is just obviously it's a great, you know. There's an endless list of dream matches for Brian Danielson, you know. So shout out Brian always. Tony Khan $2. Phil is where he's in Chicago, bro. You know, just seeing some friends, you know, hanging out. You know, chilling. Okay, brother Henry Charles Albert David 199. I hereby announce CM Punk is banned from the UK. I think he's going to be at Wembley, brother. So you know, Rob $2. Cavs in 7. Ibu, your response?
The Knicks are wrapping this series up in 6 games max. We might lose on the road in Cleveland, but we're not losing in Madison Square Garden. They can't beat us in Madison Square Garden.
Didn't they already beat you on Madison Square Garden?
Huh?
Didn't they already beat you guys there?
No. No. No, like literally no.
Man, he thought he was sleek and it just
it was like literally no.
He was like, not today. Yeah, not today.
That's like the only series I'm not watching.
That's your loss, man.
That's unfortunate, you know. Yeah. WP Fabrizio Romano $2. Tucker Carlson to Dumb Guy Live. Here we go. I don't know about that one. But,
rest in piss, Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
You piece of shit.
The way that Manny asked that Knicks question was fucking incredible, man. I couldn't tell if he was dunking or he was just genuinely asking. It was tremendous stuff, Manny. As always. He was asking. Fair.
So yeah, Punk backstage at Raw. That happened. That definitely happened.
Yes,
Maybe you've gone quiet. I'm assuming that you've been talking to people all over the place, as you do.
I have been. I kid you not.
DM whore.
It's not me. What happens is whenever there's a chaotic Monday, people just start running to me screaming. By my count, I have 15 messages right now. Look, 15 different people that have reached out to me in the last 10 minutes. One of them in all caps was Phil was here in all caps. Yeah. Another one was he hugged the Miz. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the real story.
That's the real one that's got me speechless, you know.
That's gonna be a hell of a program in 2025, brother. Let me tell you. See what they've got, you know.
Man, Punk carding it up like, Mike, what's up, brother? Jesus. Hey, man, Seth Rollins, you know, what happened, bro? You know, all that talk you've been talking, and you know, he was in your block, you know.
Man, he did say this, and we called him crazy. I still think he is, for whatever it's worth, you know.
He's not, bro. Seth, if you're that guy, bro, why did you not pull up on CM Punk?
When did he ever say that he was going to beat the shit out of CM Punk?
Hey, man.
It didn't happen, bro. I think he just said that he doesn't like him and stay away.
Yeah.
Also, Brian James, Road Dogg, what happened? You know, like some of these people, you know.
You know, everyone dunks on Brian James. Come on.
No,
yeah.
Okay. Is it low hanging fruit? Perhaps, but you know,
bro, everyone, even his friends, you know, even his friends. He's like the guy in the group, you know.
Yeah, Hunter shits on.
They're saying several AEW talent were in disbelief when they heard about it.
Bro, I'm telling you,
everyone is in disbelief.
Bro, they're all on the burners right now, calling him a piece of shit and tweeting. Somebody has absolutely tweeted, "I knew it." You know, this is These are the games that CM Punk plays, bro. It's the timing weren't ideal, you know, but it's funny as fuck. It makes it funnier, but yeah, it's
Honestly, I think there's nothing really much to look into it. Man. Just
there isn't. There actually isn't, and you are right, man. To be fair, and
But it's
then,
just
we don't know the actual inner details of it, you know, but. It's just more so like the way people pick it apart, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
He doesn't care about
super chat up.
AEW
That's really what
and all this and that. So
Monty, put that super chat up right there. You can't see what I'm pointing at, but
which one? Custodian.
The Chemo Sabi.
Okay, got you. $2, appreciate you.
He was
Read it
after
out, man.
Regal. Oh, Punk got a bounty hunter's license and was after Regal. That's exactly what he was going for.
Your hate for Regal is so fucking
He was coming after
bizarre,
that lizard pervert, man. That's who he was coming for.
Stop this.
Can you Phil be like, yo, William, what's up, buddy? And he's just like mortified.
All right, Custodian, Brian Pillman Jr., $4.99. CM Punk was allowed backstage. When I tried to go, they sent me over to the utilities closet. Crazy discrimination. Lakers in 5, though.
The Lakers are going to go to the second round.
Do we have anything else? Keyboard? No. But yeah, man, keep the super chats coming. We appreciate them always. We've got another one. Bob the Builder, $3. Appreciate it always. Punk is sending feelers about returning to the Fed. I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. People are going to make their fair, absolutely fair assumptions, you know.
I've been consistent on this, so I'm not responding to the story that's just broke. But genuinely, anyone who dismissed that possibility since he came back to wrestling, I think is crazy to begin with. That's always been on the table since everything that went down, you know. And certainly after tonight, you can further that along in that process. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I think it'd be foolish to dismiss it. Certainly. Yeah,
100%. And the Pete, I know it's kind of become a cliche, you know, but like they always, as WWE say themselves, they all come back, you know, and not so much these days. But the thing that makes a big factor in it is that WWE are always open to it, you know. After a certain amount of time, WWE are always open to it. It doesn't matter if you're Bret Hart and you knocked out Vince McMahon in the locker room. It doesn't matter if you're CM Punk who, you know, dropped the pipe bomb and fucking walked out and tried to sue or whatever the fuck, you know. The WWE after a certain amount of time, WWE are always open for a conversation.
It has
maybe
been
not
confirmed
so
to
much.
me.
You just oh god.
It has been confirmed to me that the changes to Raw scripts were absolutely after he was notified that CM Punk was backstage at Raw. So my initial suspicions and jokes about Vince leaving the show alone and then basically being woken up from, I'm assuming, a fucking nap, you know, about this Punk thing, caused him to just throw a fit and was like, give me the fucking script, bro.
Vince was like, Punk saw all the plans, so they had to scrap it all. We can't let him produce the show now because he knows what we're going to do. But man, I can't.
Why did Triple H even tell? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what their relationship's like, business relationship and also personal relationships like. But fucking,
you think
it would have made more sense for Triple H to just like tell Vince tomorrow, you know?
Yeah. Well, don't tell him.
Because the thing is, like you said, Vince probably woke up from a nap or whatever the fuck he was doing, you know? Then Triple H drops this bomb on him and it's like, boom, I'm in work mode again, you know? And then he's fucking ripping up scripts, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he's in work mode now because Triple H has brought him into work mode. You know?
Yeah, like
so
why would you talk to your father-in-law who you know is volatile and you and Nick kind of successfully like lulled him to sleep the last 2 weeks. Like it's like rocking a baby and putting it in like a fucking cradle. You've successfully done that, right? And he's leaving you alone. And then you're gonna hit him up 3 hours before Raw, like, hey, Dad, I know we're about to go live, but so Phil's here, and he's like, well, fuck you, give me the script, you know. So.
Basically.
Well, I can't wait for Punk to go back to WWE. I got some stuff too for him too if he ever goes back.
No.
I told you he was going to do this, Manny. You cannot go back on that. You've made a firm stance. you cannot already prepare the counter attack. Can't happen.
It was funny. I forgot who it was earlier in the group chat. They were just like, he saw Andrade with AEW wrestlers, and he did a 180 on him. And I said, well, yeah, that's true. I did a 180. Just wait till I do when I see Punk goes back to WWE. I got some stuff.
But you photoshopped his face on Jesus. No, I think that's you can't turn back now. You know.
Hey man, if you don't know me, Jesus ain't no hero in my life. I mean, you know.
Oh, man. But yeah, Vince is ripping up scripts, making his changes. What do we think he's gonna do?
What do you think of the changes?
Hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what.
He was already booked for a big segment with Seth, so
yes,
He's gonna get another one.
Mustafa.
he might get a squash match as well.
100%. Yeah, I think so. The last time Vince made a change, he removed the women's triple threat and he added in Omos versus Elias. I think that the in-ring times will be reduced this week. The last 2 weeks of Raw and SmackDown have been very in-ring oriented. In fact, SmackDown had pretty much no angles and it was all matches. So that's not going to be the case tonight. Whatever it is, the match times will be reduced, first and foremost. Legado was scheduled to face the Bloodline tonight. I think that's getting canceled. Ali was scheduled to have a showcase match in his hometown against Chad Gable. I would be shocked if that completely remains intact. Be very shocked. Yeah, I
would be a shame, wouldn't it?
I'd be surprised if
you piece of shit, Monty.
Yeah, Triple H is an announcement tonight, and people speculate it's a new championship. Some people have wondered, like Dave Meltzer said that we're gonna find out very soon why King of the Ring was changed tonight at Champions. Some WWE talent speculated to me that the King of the Ring tournament was going to be replaced with a tournament for the World Heavyweight Championship. So,
yeah, that seems to be the word. You know, obviously you've heard it from people you've spoken to. That seems to be what talent have told Sean, according to his report earlier on. Mike Johnson and PW Insider, he's reported that basically the word around everyone WWE is that it's going to be the title. So, yeah, it looks like we may be seeing a new title unveiled tonight, or at least announced, or something in motion of that sense, you know. So, hopefully they bring back the big gold, you know.
Yeah.
What are the chances this belt looks like fucking shit, and it's another belt with a giant W on it?
50-50.
That'd be unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, if it's the big gold, I'll pop for obvious reasons, but I will say that while I totally get why they want to do this, and because, especially Roman's schedule and such, I don't know. This feels like a mistake to me, purely on the level that it's immediately going to be the secondary prize. Like Roman is so clearly the top guy that if say you give this, I don't think you're going to give it to Cody, but for example, say Cody Rhodes won this belt, which again I think he's going to eventually get the other one, but say he won this one, it immediately feels like a runner-up medal. It's like total compensation, like it's total second best. So, yeah, that's my thing. I get why they want to do it because it makes it easier to book a show when you have another world champ on the actual TV show.
Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but you have a world champ on the actual TV show. But I think this would all be a lot easier to handle if the US belt was, we were talking about before we went on the air here, but the US belt was of relative importance last fall. And the longer it's been on Theory, frankly, the less it's meant.
Yes.
And that's why you're going to end up in a spot. I think Raw needs a belt, which it does probably, but you're in too deep now, man. You can't just decide now that you want to have a world title. To me, anyway.
And let's be real, man. Look, I've always been of the philosophy that the holder makes the belt, and what usually makes a great title reign is title defenses, quality of matches, the guy holding it. And the fact of the matter is, the reason why the U.S. title has sagged back to not feeling like it matters is, let's be frank, Austin Theory has fucking sucked as the United States champion. It's just literally the truth, And I'm somebody that I thought that he made some strides in October, November to kind of become something.
No, that was a horrible time when you was doing that.
Yeah, they were shooting,
when you was doing that act.
The whole Theory's getting pretty good, I mean, he was showing some signs. He had some good matches on TV with KO and Seth and Ziggler, but he's regressed. He's absolutely regressed. His match with John Cena was nothing, and it did nothing for him. You know what I mean? He didn't come out of Mania feeling like a superstar. Dominic Mysterio has usurped him as a heel, as a young heel on the show. And the fact of the matter is, it's just it's impossible to care about him. So we're left in this situation now where there's so many talented guys on the roster. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, you name it, right? and they don't have anything to fight for because Roman Reigns is holding the world championships hostage. And I understand what you're saying, Joe, about this being a secondary belt, but I don't. So was the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. That was literally that was created because Bushiroad decided we can't take the IWGP World Title off Okada. We're just not going to do that. He's going to hold this for a long time, but we have all these super workers who need something to fight for. And I was able to, as a fan, acknowledge this and still enjoy the IC belt for what it is. And so I think, depending on who is holding this championship and who's fighting for it, I think this is a good thing because I look at Gunther and Sheamus and Drew's three-way, and I just think these guys are main event level wrestlers. You know, I see guys like that. I see guys like Seth, and I'm like, these guys deserve something. You know, so I personally don't have much of an issue with it, to be honest with you. But I acknowledge what you say, and we've seen it in the past. We've seen the big gold become like a souped-up IC title.
Right.
You know, so it could definitely happen again. It's up to booking and who's holding the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I should be clear. It's not like a travesty, you know. I don't think it's like this terrible to see. It's just, to me, it's like you're so deep with this Roman reign. You know, he's beat everyone. You know, it's like.
I want to fact check Hangman on something real quick. The Intercontinental title was made in 2011. Okada didn't come back to New Japan until 2012.
I'm aware MVP was the first IC champ. My point is, from a booking standpoint, that's what the belt ended up being for. You know, it was the Shinsuke Hiroshi Tanahashi were fighting over this championship belt, while Okada, because they were trying to make
Okada. Just changed it around.
Manny, was this necessary, Manny? Really?
Like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Like, I was watching the product. I know.
The grin on Manny's face is right? Like clicking around.
For 80% of the existence of the IC belt, that's what it was. It was Tanahashi and Ibushi and Nakamura fighting for this belt while Okada was becoming somebody holding the main belt. And they wanted him to get to a certain point, and he needed to hold and keep the world title for that to happen. But you can't leave Ibushi out in the wilderness and these other guys. So,
anyway,
what do you think, Monty? What do you think about this this second world title?
We'll see what they do with it. I guess that's the important thing at the end of the day. You know, see what they do with it, how they crown the champion, etc., etc. You know, yeah, I guess I'll see both sides of it when I think like when you go to like Joe's and your own point, it's just kind of we'll see, you know. I just hope it's not fucking ugly, you know. If it's a big gold, it's a big gold, you know. No can make it work because the idea the big gold on Gunther, you know.
If I was like if I was a WWE wrestler, I would hate to be like get that title because it feels like, well, dang, they're just probably giving it to me because I'm complaining or something that Roman has the belt and like, well, here's a title for you to shut up here. And
you know what I would think, Manny?
And then on top of that, it's like. I think people like Roman might hold this thing for a long ass time too if they're making another belt. So I mean,
my mindset would be I'm gonna have matches so great for this championship that it's gonna be the belt that people care about the most.
No, I mean people care about Roman. I mean, just how you have. There's only so much people really care about you when Roman's the top guy.
Look at Gunther with the IC belt, man. You know.
I will say, I mean, they can certainly put together like a very strong tournament, which is always a good start. You want, you know, if they're going to do this, they should really try and put together an all-star lineup for that best they can. You know, you do not want guys in this tournament if they're going to do like an 8-man tournament, for example. You do not want guys that are immediately below what you would see a top guy in that promotion as. Right? It needs to be some heavy hitters. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can't be that. Yeah, it needs to be guys who the audience views organically as a world champion level guy. How many of them you believe they have? I think it varies depending on who you ask. But I think you need to make sure that like immediately this belt is associated with big time players for sure.
Well, hopefully they do some justice for it. But let's CM Punk, man. He's got his date booked apparently June 17th. In Chicago, meant to be coming back for AEW Collision. You know, that's the date that we're all hearing. And it's just a falling around he's doing tonight. He's backstage at Raw. It's, you know, we'll see how it all plays out. AEW Collision, though. What are we expecting from this show? Manny, I'll start with you. What are you hoping AEW Collision is?
A very
Stop
good
fucking
show.
clicking around as well, man. You know? What is this, man? He
Okay.
was giggling at his text. Man, he's clicking around trying to fucking dunk on Ibu's facts. And it's like, what are we doing? People listen to this.
Well,
I'm trying here, man. I'm
I
trying.
think the show's going to be very good. It's going to have a lot of. I hope it has all my favorite wrestlers in it, so I can debate with people on the Saturday show's better than Wednesday night.
That's
I
what
don't
we're
know.
looking forward to.
Debating with people.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be debating. I'm just going to be like posting stuff
Shit
on
posting.
Twitter, and then I'm just going to go back to like fucking watching Star Wars stuff on YouTube. I mean, like that's just going to be what I'm going to be doing. I don't know. I
Yeah, he
mean,
does,
I'm
man.
just really excited for the show. I can't wait for it to come, and I'm really interested to see what Punk's going to do and what the whole dynamic is about everything. But I don't. But I do think when Punk comes back, he's not going to be a heel, because I think if you have him as a heel, everybody's going to be waiting for that elite match to happen, and there's no point in teasing it if you don't think it's going to happen.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how
We have a report from Worked Wrestling that says things are currently chaotic backstage at Raw between the very last minute changes to the show from Vince McMahon and the shocking unprompted visit from CM Punk. Like fans, the talent were beyond surprised to have Punk there.
That's not really much of a report, though, is it, mate?
No,
Yeah.
it's nothing crazy. Regarding
It's just
Collision,
kinda like-
Monty, I'm hoping it is what I wanted from the Ring of Honor Club show. You know,
which is
you know what I
Real
want.
graps.
Yeah. You know, real graps, real niggas. You know what I mean? Modified, modern Crockett. You know. Listen, I think that should Punk have heavy creative say-so, as well as the roster that he would like, which is a lot of the names that kind of tossed out there on Twitter over the last week. I think I'm automatically going to like the show. What I would hope, though, is that it looks different, you know, which is a big thing with Tony Khan's TV, because I think a lot of Tony's TV just looks and feels the exact fucking same. Even so much so that, like, Dynamite is starting to feel like a 2-hour Rampage at times, which is not what you want. You want it to be vice versa, where Rampage feels like Dynamite. I want it to look different. I want it to feel different. I want it to sound different with the commentary. I want great angles. I want it to be shot slightly different than Dynamite, which I'm not going to cross my fingers on that. So that's what I'm hoping for, and we'll see what happens. You know.
Yeah, I co-sign a lot of that. I think there's some interesting things you can do with Renee on this show. I would be intrigued by her filling the role that Jean played on Nitro back in the day, where she's kind of the host of the show. And I would use that more traditional interview format, you know, where like a guy wins and they just get interview time with Renee. Rather than us like cutting backstage to, you know, a 30-second interview that gets interrupted, like having her being out there in front of the people, maybe you give her a little spot on the stage. I don't know. I remember at one point, this is not an old school reference, so folks, mate, a couple of years ago, WWE had that bizarre like trend where they had like a podium on the stage for interviews.
Yeah.
And like, I actually thought it was pretty neat,
yeah.
but they obviously like give up on it immediately. Something where you gave people like regular interview time that was different to how they get on Dynamite, for example, is something that comes to mind just to kind of attach to what Ibu was saying. The most interesting thing to me is Punk himself and how he is presented on this show, right? Because this is a unique situation to say the least, because we don't really know how Punk's going to be received by all the audiences they're going to get, you know, in front of in this next
No,
few
he'll
months.
be fine.
No, but I'm not saying he's getting booed. What I'm saying is we all agree Chicago's going to go wild, right? It goes without saying. But like, how do you present him from there? Do you lean in a particular direction? Do you let the audience decide for you? I certainly don't think you have Punk run back the promos he did when he first came in of kind of like, you know, happy to be here, welcome to the show, that kind of that's gone now. I don't think you can relive that, you know. So it's like, how do you immediately reestablish him? What is his presentation? Does he reference what happened? Does he not? That's the most interesting part to me, because the way you do that will decide whether he's a babyface or heel, or, you know, do do you just let the people decide and say, figure it out when you're out there? Because he could certainly do that. There will absolutely be crowds, I think, that fuck around and get a little bit crazy with Punk. I really do believe that. Like, this is not just something that's I mean, it's online, certainly, but we saw it with the pay-per-view match when there was that back and forth. Like, this Punk thing has genuinely split the AEW audience, legitimately. And so how you navigate that creatively, I think, is the most interesting part, and that will kind of decide where the rest of the show goes to me.
I just hope it feels different, you know. That's my big thing. Like, that's kind of like my quick take on it. Is I just want it to feel different, you know. Whether they do the stuff with the presentation, whether they do a different interview style, like what Joe mentioned, whether it's a split roster, whatever it is, you know. I just want it to feel different, you know. And by different, I don't mean like substandard, like Rampage has become, you know. Because that's like bad different, you know. And it started off as good different, you know, but we'll see where it goes. Much like
I have an epiphany, by the way, about the CM Punk thing. I just
fuck.
I just thought about it. Like, no, I think it's worth being made, to be honest with you. So what Punk did was absolutely like chaotic, right? And it's like some Neo Brian Pillman shit. And I thought about this, and I thought, like, because wrestling is so polished and sanitized and controlled and stuff like that, that hurts CM Punk. And we saw, like, in his first run, that when he showed up as the happy guy who was happy to be here, there were some people that thought, like, this doesn't feel like the CM Punk I remembered, right? And I was thinking, like, I wonder if him being just this really messy, chaotic entity actually adds to his drawing power when he comes back. That we have to see, because right now the June 21st Chicago date isn't selling that great, you know. And I wonder if it's just because people are like, yeah, it's CM Punk, like the aura is gone, like he's just a guy on the show that's wrestling. And I wonder if he's partially trying to make himself that kind of like renegade figure in the business that is like above everybody in the sense of just being controllable. I was just wondering, like, I wonder if this affects him as a star. You know, he's gonna be the biggest trend on Twitter tonight on during an episode of Raw. His name is gonna get chanted when Triple H comes out. Like that's what's gonna happen. You know, so in a weird psychopathic way, I feel like this does for AEW. You don't think so?
I do think there's something to be, and I also think it's an intriguing kind of vibe to like explore for Collision itself. Because Collision is absolutely going to end up with a lot of the guys who have been kind of like controversial, we will say, you know, and like having the show immediately be chaotic, and there's like a crazy angle that completely breaks the format immediately, and kind of this idea of the promotion's renegade. You have to be careful with it. You don't want to split your audience. You don't want to do like a brand split vibe. But the idea that when you put Collision on, these guys are nuts and they could do anything at any given moment, I think could be a pretty cool defining factor that would kind of follow in Punk's footsteps almost. So, yeah, it's interesting for sure.
I also do want to. This Punk thing is kind of crazy because it sounds like the same thing he wanted to do during his time when he beat John Cena for the title when he was like a free agent or whatever, and he wanted to go to New Japan and all that and create chaos, and they didn't let him do it. It seems like that's what he's doing right now, creating chaos for everybody around him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's drama. That's what he does. That's what he's
but I do want to bring up about the Collision show. I really hope. I know they're not going to do it, but I really hope that they don't run the same cities as Dynamite, so like they don't like double book the same venue. And then on top of that, I want them to run like smaller venues, like cooler venues you wouldn't see before. But I don't think they would do that to Punk, where he's like, oh, he's a big star, you know, you have to run these huge venues. But
yeah,
I think it'd be kind of cool, like the ECW arena or like whatever smaller venue you can do. I think it'd be so cool, but at the same time, I don't think that's something Tony would do.
I'm with you. I always wanted them to try that stuff for Rampage, you know? Like when we used to talk about Rampage, they could just like go into different places and quirky buildings that have certain history or just look different on TV. Like, I think anything that, when you have that much content to produce, anything that separates a show and gives it its own feel for that 1 week is beneficial. I don't think they've really, attempted that too often. Like I'm reminded of when they did that Dynamite on the cruise.
Mm-hmm.
Or they made it a couple. I remember one for sure. And it was like that show had its own distinct personality just for one night. It was different. That's cool, man. Like it keeps the thing fresh. And I think exploring that on either show is worthwhile, to be honest. I think that's something they could definitely do a better job of, for sure.
Yeah, man, got a few super chats. Brainbuster199 says, "Work is gonna work, baby. Collision gonna be wild." Yeah, I think it's gonna be a wild run. You know. Jacob Donnelly, $5 appreciated. Genuine question: should TK be upset about the Punk news or just let it slide?
Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I genuinely don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, I think it's hilarious, and it's given us, 50 minutes of stuff to talk about, I guess. But I legitimately don't think it's that big of a story. I get why it's like jarring. It was surprising to me when we heard about it, but it's not. Once you get beyond the initial like that's fucking nuts, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Genuinely, I mean, I may be way off and missing, so I don't know. But what do you think, Monty? How would you handle this?
I'll just say, man, the timing's fucked up. So, I'll just go, you know what you did. I'm not stupid,
Then do you text him that? Voice note?
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you do it?
Call him in the early hours of the morning,
Well, if you're TK, you're crazy. You just like get your private jet ready to go. You just be in Chicago.
You know, it's funny, Manny. Like, because just in my dealings with Monty himself, boss of WrestlePurists, if I were to hypothetically just like pop up on a random ass podcast, like just to create some buzz and chaos, like unannounced, right? Like, I would just get a DM from Monty like 20 minutes later that just says, "What are you doing?" He would just say that. He's like, "What?" And I would respond, and he'd reply, "Why?"
I have to get an understanding of people, You got to understand people before you can be mad at them,
Why do you do that? Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I'll just keep moving.
Manny just shit posting, but live on a podcast. Is that, doing his thing. Todd Bowley, $5. Doesn't it suck when your team lets you down, Monty? We're not so different, you and I. Listen, man, I work with children. Like I've got children at the bottom of the screen. It's like, it's what? I've got children on the Unpurist podcast. I've got children on Murphy's literally a child. He's like 14, just surrounded by children, Joe's like 36, so,
Yeah.
Ibu's just got the mindset of a teenage girl, So, these are things I deal with, Todd,
Oh my God.
We'll talk about it, We'll talk about it.
You will? Tremendous.
Hater Blade. Another currency I don't recognise. 50 of them though. Appreciate you. Did you guys watch the All Star Grand Queendom? Yeah, we did. Did you, Manny?
No.
Oh, Manny.
You're never beating allegations, bro.
You're missing out, brother. I'll use this to kind of go on, Manny. Go on.
What do people want from me, man? I mean, like, I'm busy. I just watch Dynamite when it's on, Ring of Honor when it's on. I don't even watch Rampage. I mean, guys, I'm trying to broaden my horizons, man. I'm trying to watch some boxing, some NBA playoffs, some Lethal Weapon, Star Wars, man. I got stuff to do.
Never beaten the allegations though.
I've been told that currently in Allstate Arena they're chanting CM Punk.
The fact that Monty, you didn't think they were going to do that. Kind of
come on. Like, come on.
No, you knew that they're going to do it at Triple H. I was like,
yes, they're absolutely good. You know what, Monty? Let's take a bet right now. $5.
For what? What's the point? Just a bit like.
Money said for what?
For what? Like $5, bro. Like
10.
No,
it's not even like
Monty,
I'm that. It's not like I'm that adamant or anything. It's just like, bro. Literally gets the text saying they're already chanting it, and he's like, "Oh, let's make a bet," and says $5 anyway. All-Star Grand Queen was an amazing show. Stardom always deliver with their big shows, they've just got such a great roster, top to bottom. And tomorrow, obviously, they'll do like a full review of it on Dungai Live. So that's where, but obviously we'll touch on it a bit. I'm going to use it though to kind of segue to our next thing I wanted to talk about was kind of like all the Mercedes business that's been going on the past few days and over the weekend and stuff. So it was reported that Dave said that I believe it was the All-Star Grand Queendom date was her last date. And then Mercedes followed that up with like, she said like, and all these reports about me are false, blah, blah, blah. She done that kind of thing that wrestlers do sometimes. And then Dave then put in the newsletter, I think it was, that she's agreed to do an extension. And now today, on Fightful Selection, Rossap is reporting that Mercedes is set to be a free agent soon. The extension that was said to have been signed only covers the next New Japan date in the United States that she's meant to be doing. So for now, it seems, according to a team, that she's not doing anything in Japan for at least a little while, as of now. So that term was used quite a lot throughout Sean's report. Was like, as of now, she isn't actually booked for anything in Stardom, but that could obviously change. Both sides are open to negotiating, etc., etc. So I guess I will see how it goes, but there's been kind of like a lot of stuff from like 3 different places, like Mercedes debunking the reports, Dave's reported 2 different things, and obviously now Sean has followed up with what her team members are apparently saying. So, Joe, what do you think's going on with Mr. Stick around in Japan, or do you think he's just going to do the New Japan US show and bounce back to WWE, or what do you think she's going to do? But she's been talking about looking for property and stuff,
Yeah.
So
yeah, this last kind of I think chapter's too strong a word, but this last little window of talk has been really weird, right? Like you laid it out there perfectly, but it's been hard. I mean, when I saw the report today about free agency, I was kind of like, I swear there was just an extension, and indeed that was the talk, and this is where we're at now. Look, I'm certainly not going to be the guy who like does the very confident, like, she's actually going back, bro. Like, I don't know, obviously, right? That was definitely a thing that a lot of people felt would be the case. That was a long time ago, man. And it seems like she's having a blast. So it's like, I'm certainly not going to guess that. It's always possible. I'm not going to dismiss it, but I don't know. I mean, the logistics of this deal intrigue me. It's not the most interesting thing to talk about. Obviously, it's much more fun to put together matches, and we can do that, certainly. But, like, we don't know her price, but we've heard a lot about it being a pretty hefty one. And so it's like the longer you get into it, obviously, you'd assume that the kind of, what would be the word? Like the novelty of her being in that setting is going to slowly wear off, right, with each showing. So then it's like the price has to be figured out where, what value it has to Stardom and so on and so forth. I mean, I think it goes without saying that this match on Sunday had immense value because Mercedes brought new eyes to their biggest show ever, which was part of why it was their biggest show ever, in no small part, obviously. And there were a whole lot of people, I think, who saw that show, watched it for Mercedes, and left with 4 or 5 favorite wrestlers, and that's what it's all about. So, my guess is there's still some matches ahead of Mercedes in Japan. I think she's still got a little, she's gonna have another kind of a handful at the very least. Eventually, I think a return to WWE is kind of inevitable, but I certainly don't think. I'm certainly not going to predict it happening this year. It may, it always is possible, but I don't know. I think it's kind of, it'd be very bold to like sit here after all we've seen thus far and heard the things she said and be like, yeah, she's definitely going back, bro. She'll be at SummerSlam or whatever, Like, I'm not at that place right now. We'll see.
Yeah, kind of see where it all plays out, but I think, like you said, it's been like a little weird phase the past week or so with kind of the reporting regarding the contracts. Mone, Mercedes, your absolute favourite wrestler. We all know this. Everyone at WrestlePurists knows this. What do you think she's going to get up to? What do you think her next moves are?
You just kind of set me up to fail with this one, but I think she's going to go back to WWE. That's all.
Nothing else? Just straight back?
Well, I mean, she has to work this first date first, right? Then she's going to go back.
Yeah, you think she's going straight back after that?
I mean, if she was gonna do something else, she would have been doing it already, wouldn't she?
She is. She wrestled yesterday. Yeah.
So
She's got a book.
I know
on,
nothing
Joe.
about Stardom, but when I saw that both her and Julia lost, I was kind of wondering if that was to free up the belts. They could just do a big money match without the belts, and kind of free it of those political elements. And then this news came out, and I was like, I don't know what anymore. Because, the Julia match kind of was like a must, right, from a promotional point of view. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like an obvious one. And that was my kind of just gut instinctual response to seeing both title changes. Like, maybe they just want to do that match without any belts and just it's a money match, right? It doesn't need the belts.
Well, Julie said to the PC.
But I'm intrigued as to what she does in this next US date, right? Like, what's the natural play there? Is there any read on that, Monty? Is there any gut feeling on who she's going to be working this next New Japan US show?
Well, she's mentioned about 5 different wrestlers,
She has.
over the time that she's been there, so it makes it even harder. It's not like she's singled out someone. She has mentioned Starlight Kid multiple times, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't seem like it didn't seem to me like there's anything obvious on the horizon except for kind of like fantasy booking the Julia thing, like you said, because it just seems to make so much sense. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what she what plays she makes.
I'm just shocked that Sasha hasn't done anything in Mexico yet, because I mean, anytime she has time off, she's always in Mexico. So I would have thought she would have been on the AAA or Casino Low show.
Conan needs to write that check, bro.
Well, they'll probably get balanced or something. I don't know if they want to.
In terms of navigating free agency, she's in a really good spot because obviously she's always going to be a big deal in terms of if she wants to go back. That will always be a big play for them, and she's always ready to go for a stadium match in WWE, unquestionably.
Well, now that Vince is back too, I mean, she'll be.
But she also, the Wembley show is like a bargaining chip. I think if you're a big free agent, you could absolutely strike a deal to do a one shot just for Wembley Stadium. That adds juice to that show. It adds some star power.
Bro, I don't think Tony would do that.
I don't either, but I think that's a mistake. Like now, if she said, I will only work the show if I can beat the world's champion, I get why Tony wouldn't do it. We don't know the situation, but if you can get her on the show without her beating, Jamie Hayter, I think you should try and make that happen. That'd be a pretty big deal.
I don't know. I don't think Tony's going to do that. I think the only guy you might see from another company or that they're not close with is Will Ospreay. Closing. I think you might get the King or something on the show too. But,
Aussie Open, maybe.
Yeah, those guys. You're not going to get a free agent, that's roaming around.
We'll see. But yeah, it's not really been Tony's play to do those one-off things in not big positions anyway on the card, and obviously Mercedes would be in a huge position on the card. So,
sure.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. I'd love to see, of course, if she was at Wembley.
And I don't to play devil's advocate too. It's it would be good to bring her in if you weren't moving tickets, but if you just want to go off the pre-sale tickets or whatever, they're moving really fast. They're last time I saw it was at 55K plus. So it's he's not desperate to move tickets at the same time because they're moving them along pretty fast. So
yeah, I get it. I'm not against that. I get it.
Other thing I wanted to move on to as well from Mercedes was Trinity Fatu. Of course, she's been kind of I don't want to say she's been laying low because she has been active on social media and stuff, but in time, obviously, she hasn't wrestled since leaving WWE or anything like that. She hasn't appeared on screen anywhere, I don't believe. She was backstage at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor in March. Then apparently, I think it was this past weekend, she was backstage at GCW.
That's nasty.
Which was another one where I was kind of what was she doing there? Why was she there? Was she just seeing friends? If so, what friends? You tried to connect the dots and you couldn't really make much sense of it as a fan, anyway.
Who is a friend of hers at GCW?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Bro, I've had this. I've asked myself this. I don't know, bro. Effie, who knows, bro? but yeah, she's been she's been out and around. And then there was a report, I believe. Just let me double check it real quick, make sure I get the right source. Yeah, it was in the newsletter, Wrestling Observer newsletter. Bushi Road, which is obviously the parent company of New Japan and Stardom, their wrestling division is under pressure to keep spending down. They were told they could bring in Trinity, but felt it was. They were told they could bring in Trinity, but it was felt it would cost too much for them for the return, and thus far hadn't made the deal. Trinity then went to Instagram, took this post, and said it was false. So what what do we think's going on with the former Naomi? It's kind of a weird one because, like I said, she hasn't really done anything, and it's like, does she want to get back into wrestling? Or what?
So I think it's kind of eerie, not eerie, but so the Mercedes thing with this whole extension only being one match, and her and Naomi abandoning the Trinity Star trademark, I think it's just something to like keep an eye on. You know, like Mercedes is so unpredictable to me, and like everything that she's saying and presenting scans as somebody who wants to remain in Stardom at least for another year. So that's what it seems, right? How she talks, you know, the people that she's pitching to work with, her potentially living in Japan as she's acting like. And like you said, Monty, Trinity is laying low. I thought that we were setting up something with her and Athena for Ring of Honor, but to this point, that hasn't been presented on television. Did you guys see the video of Trinity, you know, basically in character reacting to Athena at Supercard?
Yeah.
You know, that footage hasn't been used yet. So I'm really curious what's going on here. And yeah, I'm not gonna just straight up be like, yo, they're going back. But it's just something to monitor, I guess. I'll just straight up say this though: Triple H was the person who told Dave Meltzer at the beginning of the year that what's it called? She's getting this out of her system.
Yeah, because Dave was the like the only person who was bold enough to like have a firm stance on the Mercedes thing before the January LA show for AEW, and everyone was like umming and ahhing, and most people were honestly expecting Mercedes to show up on that show. And like 2 days before, Dave Meltzer was like, "Yeah, she's definitely not going to be at that show." And you know, because it's Meltzer, and you know, it's Meltzer. Like some people kind of do the whole like point and laugh at Meltzer thing, and you know, but he ended up being right. She wasn't on the show, and you know, and now we know what. Yeah. Triple H must have put in the call and said she's definitely not going to AEW because she's getting this out of her system, and you know, we'll see if she comes back. So
the thing that shocked me was people like shocked that New Japan wasn't going to sign Trinity or give her a good deal like that. Like, they don't even sign a lot of their guys to contracts and stuff like that. So I don't really find what that was shocking about. But I don't want 2 cents about the whole thing.
Well, yeah, but it's just regarding just making a deal with her. It wasn't like signing her to a 3-year contract or anything. So Mercedes hasn't got like a long contract or anything. It's just like she must have had a 3-match deal, which has now been extended to a 4-match deal, which could be turned into a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll see how it goes. But the thing with Trinity is that they didn't make a deal. The people in the wrestling division were under pressure to keep spending down, and they were told at one point they could get Trinity, and then they must have looked at it a bit closer and evaluated it and decided that she wasn't worth bringing in for any kind of deal. So it's but Manny is right though. Like New Japan Bushi, right? There is like a lot of their guys weren't, you know, a lot of their guys aren't under contract, and they're kind of just, you know, they're just out there though, you know.
Yeah, like wasn't Despy like on a handshake for years? Like, is what it is.
No, I think that got debunked. That's right. Because I was that's a fair manism, to be fair, you know. Because I made that mistake about a week ago and someone corrected me on it. But still, there is a lot of people that you know, I could still be wrong. El Desperado, Sonada, but like there's other names. Obviously, Sonada's you'd assume he's on a proper contract, you know. But like, there's a lot of names floating around that like so and so hasn't. They're not under proper contracts with New Japan. Then a lot of them got debunked. I don't know the specifics of who's under what contracts and stuff though. So,
I'll say this, however it works out with Trinity, I think it'd be really cool to see her in another setting. That would be just interesting as a fan. Like, seeing how she would fare, even in a one-off elsewhere, I think would be an interesting watch. I genuinely don't know how it would go. Like, it's partly because I think Trinity, I like her work, but she's been out now for a year, and she's like had a very kind of stop-start run in general, right? Like her whole career in WWE, she'll have like some momentum, she'll get rolling, and they'll pull back. It's like I don't know how she would fare, but it would be interesting to me. The Athena program, for example, was like just that itself I would like to see, certainly.
100%.
I don't know how viable it is to bring in a star. He's probably going to require a pretty hefty check to do Ring of Honor. I don't know if that's I don't know if that's a habit you want to get into doing, right? But as a fan, I would certainly like to see him. Nothing else. So we'll see.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see. Like you said, I'm big on the same thing as you. It's like I'd love to just see Naomi in a different setting. Whether that's Ring of Honor, whether that's in Japan, whether that's wherever it may be. It'd be cool to see her like step out of a, let's just call it comfort zone for better or worse. Step outside the box a bit, like Mercedes has, and do some different things, have some fun, and give the fans some pops, because she has been laying low, and you want to see her wrestle, you want to see her doing things, and if she feels like she needs the time off, then God bless her, I guess. But I would like to see her come back sooner rather than later. Darren Walker, £5. Don't worry, Ibu. A 7-star match on Dynamite this week. Dax versus Double J. All the kids should watch it and learn how to work. This is a real wrestling match. This is the exact match that Ibu brought up before we went live on the podcast.
Yeah, you said Dynamite looks good. Dax versus Jeff Jarrett.
He did, man. That's what he does.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He does that stuff. Playboy X, $1.99. Appreciate it. Make Rampage similar to ECW Hardcore TV. That would be something.
It would be a pretty big shift from where they're at now. I respect that suggestion.
Berkey, $1.99. Appreciate it. Is Vince going to be involved in the draft?
That's a great question.
My answer to that would be if he wants to be.
Yeah.
On that day,
It's weird because there's a lot of names discussed for the draft that would not be Vince McMahon picks if it was solely up to him. Like the Dragunovs and Tyler Bates.
Yeah. Bruh, $5. Appreciate you. Punk going to Raw and trying to bury the hatchet with people is, as Monty would say, very spiteful. Oh man, it's like I said, my thing with it is just the timing. Could have got away with it a few months ago, more so than now. We'll see how much he does get away with it in terms of. To be fair, he'll get away with it in terms of like with Tony and stuff. Like he's not going to get fired or anything, But in terms of just like minor headaches that could have easily been avoided, People subtweeting him on the burner accounts, people putting together conspiracy theories, people going to Dave and saying, "Oh, loads of AEW." Someone's 100% going to go to Dave and Brian and be like, "Loads of us talent were, we thought this was really bad or whatever the fuck," and then they're going to be like, "Oh, well, AEW talent thought da 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 da," and then there's going to be a whole day of discourse about that, and it's just. I can already see how these things fucking play out, man. That's why it drives me crazy. Madson 84, $2. Tam Nakano, real wrestler, violent bomber. She's fucking.
What a match!
She might be number one.
God, man, that was gruesome. It was just. It was hard to watch at times. I mean, as a compliment, physicality in that thing was like. I read great Twitter follow Tape Machines. He reviewed the match. I was reading it today, and he said sometimes it was almost relieving when they were doing wrestling moves because you knew they were going to leave each other's brains alone for a couple of minutes. I was like, you ain't wrong, man. There was some strike exchanges that were like horrifying, and again, I mean this all was praise.
Headbutts.
The headbutts.
The headbutts.
Yeah, like they were the kind of headbutts that even if you're adjusted to that and you're like it doesn't bother you, they still made you go, fuck, like it was a lot. It was incredible match.
Yeah, it was a.
Nakano, a great wrestler.
She is, man. She's like I said, she might be number one, brother. I'm telling you, she might be number one.
She was number 5 on my match of the year last year with Julia for the hair versus hair match.
Listen, man, I get, John, I get how you, like, because we're both casual, so I kind of, I guess we can kind of go back and forth on this, instead of being shown up by like a Jamie or a Parker if they were on here right now, but
it's kind of beast.
you know how you like, you see Julia lose and you see Mercedes lose, and you think maybe they were just like trying to free up like that match, like without the politics and stuff. Whereas like, as someone who's kind of like recently got more and more into Stardom, I've kind of always wondered like why Tam wasn't. Like Julia was always gonna get that run that she got, It always felt, but like Tam always felt like, they're. I don't want to say ace, because that's obviously, as I've been told many times, that's Mayu. Like she's like the main like flag waver of Stardom and stuff. She's the one that's never left and stuff. But Tam has always like felt like a really integral piece of like what they do, and she's always in like prominent positions, and like her stories always have like a lot of emphasis on her. So it kind of just felt almost natural, even though I know a lot of people were surprised by it. But even like as an outsider, it didn't shock me too much because it kind of felt naturally like it was kind of Tam's time, or at least coming towards that anyway. So
I'm without, I should note that, Monty, you're right to point out, like I am very much, I watch the big matches from Stardom, and my context does not go much further beyond that. I watch them and I have a great time, but I'm watching a lot of different stuff, and it's hard sometimes, but it's like, I was slightly surprised by the result because I did see a lot of talk about a potential kind of double title match with Mercedes, and so when you're not aware of the product and you're a novice to it, you hear that one thing, you go, "That's what they're going to do," right? Not necessarily. So I was oblivious to a lot of that context. I'd seen their previous match. I saw their match in the tournament final last year, and I saw their hair versus hair match, which was in 2021, which Manny misremembered as being 2022.
Yeah,
I saw those two. So I was aware of their dynamic and their rivalry to an extent, but yeah, I mean, it was incredible. Tam is just
she's
they
so
both are.
good,
They're like Monty said at the beginning. Like Stardom just has a really sick roster, because with big Japanese wrestling cards, usually like the last few matches or like the big spotlighted ones, like the last 3 or 4. Stardom usually goes like 6 deep on these big shows. And it's a testament to their talent.
I really love the Kairi trio, man. Did anyone else see that, or more the only person?
So what I caught was everything from the Mina match onward.
The Mina match was fucking incredible. I thought
that was
what I'm saying.
It might have been on par with the main event.
It was
in
my
terms
favorite.
Of just kind of like. It was just, just so good, Like
Nina was working the leg within like 30
she worked the leg,
She
worked the leg.
It's just crazy because I watched Mina 2 years.
She worked the leg some more,
Mina was a shitter 2 years ago, man.
And like the cut up, and bro, the fucking, when she had her in like the electric chair, and like spun her into like fucking, it was like an avalanche dragon screw. That was fucking awesome. But yeah, it was just like, it was really smartly worked. It felt really important, like the gravity of the match. It felt really important, and Saya was selling great. Mina, again, like the focus limb work, like as much as a cliche, and almost we pop ourselves by saying it. Like, she worked the leg.
She did it properly though. Like, she was on it. She was relentless on it. It's different.
Yeah, she was on it, and then she used it for a cut-offs as well. And stuff like that. And it was just really good professional wrestling. And at the end when she finally pins her and gets the win, and they get really emotional, and it just feels like, like it really feels like it means something to her. Yeah. And I was saying before we went live, it's like I'm watching it. I sat forward in my chair, and I was like, this is real fucking graps. This is actually real fucking graps. Like, this is it, man. But again, tomorrow will be like the more like in depth all-star Grand Queendom review for Dungai Live. So Those are just kind of two things I really wanted to point out, especially about Mina and Tam, because like I love Tam. She's kind of been my favorite Joshi wrestler over in Japan since pretty much since the Natsupoi feud, which it wasn't that long ago. It was like less than a year ago. You know, it's like one of the more recent feuds. But like I said, I haven't been into Stardom. You know, like I was a super casual before, and now I'm more kind of a standard casual. You know,
Watch the big shows. You know,
Yeah, that's right.
watch the big shows. Might watch something in between if I hear it's good. You know, because we've got good people around us at WrestlePurists, like your Jamies and your Parkers, and you
They
can
keep
get
you
good
in the loop.
recommendations. Yeah. Peps, of course, who does the Joshi guide. We got a good team, you know.
There was a time back in 2021 after I watched that hair versus hair match. I was watching Stardom like almost every day, those tour shows. Yeah, man, you got too
Manny
much.
don't do nothing but halves, man. Telling you.
I think I burned myself out trying to watch all those shows and like their pay-per-views. I said, I'm good, man. I'll watch occasionally a big show, big match. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. I'll probably get to watching these two matches.
Yeah,
eventually.
sometimes it's like even with it's hard with Manny because you can recommend certain matches to him and he just won't watch them, you know. But it's like sometimes you do watch a match and I'll know that like Manny will love it. Like Manny would love the main event because you know the headbutting each other, it's
And the,
violent, it's
knockout
real.
match too, right? With
Yeah,
Hashimoto.
like
You'd love
yeah,
that,
of course he would.
oh yeah, Chihiro Hashimoto versus Fury is man
Really
wrestling.
great card. 100% going to be looked back at as one of the shows of the year when we, you know, when we do all our voting and all that kind of
Absolutely.
that nerdy stuff that we love to do.
Like,
We've
I
got a
have,
few
like,
more.
Like
Go
I
on,
have this
man.
random match that I'm going to watch eventually. Daisuke Sakimoto versus Yuji Okabayashi for the BJW Championship. I don't know when I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to watch it soon.
And I'm sure he's gonna live tweet it like it's happening right there and then, you know, because that's what Manny does.
BJW
He just live tweets whatever he's watching. All right, so we've got 5 minutes. We've got a few super chat.
5 minutes. Oh shit, 3 seconds.
Yeah, we got 5 minutes until we hit 8 p.m. Eastern. You know, the Monday Night Raw mayhem starts. Lenia Harley, hope I pronounced that right. $5, appreciate you. Tyler Black in AEW would have had the same effect that Cody's having in WWE. True or false? Any big plans for Swerve feels very underused. I think that's absolutely false.
Don't die, bro. Tyler Black in AEW is gonna be fucking magical, bro. Just
you think he would go there and be their top babyface or top heel?
Yeah, I think it's false as well.
Nah.
You know what?
I think it would be a big deal. Absolutely, it would be a big deal. It's Seth Rollins, I'd say. Do you know what I mean? It would be a big deal, but I don't think it would be like what Cody was to WWE. Like that's a very rare thing. What that was.
When Cody went there, there was but there was no top baby faces either. He slotted in to the top spot immediately.
I mean, it was a very unique situation.
Very unique.
Yeah, look, man. Look, WWE fans are gullible. You tell them he's a huge star, they're all gonna think he's a huge star. It is what it is, man.
I think that the person asking
am I lying?
I think this person asking this doesn't truly realize the extent of what Cody's done for the company. Like he's completely changed the trajectory of the promotion from a business standpoint.
When he's asking, he's not saying.
Yeah. And so I actually think Seth Rollins would do really, really well in AEW. To be honest with you, I think he would do very well.
I think he should go. In fact, like,
really?
I think he should go.
He's already dropping
Black. I hear the little things backstage, and whether they're true or not, you never know because everyone's full of shit in the wrestling business, you know. But you know, it just seems like he. It's funny how open, how seemingly open he was when he done that. I think it was the interview with Ariel when he's talking about like being second place to Roman and stuff. I think that shit eats at him, bro. You know?
Oh, it does. It does.
And I feel like he sees himself as, if Roman's 1A, he's like 1B. You know, I think that's how he sees himself, and I don't think the company sees him as that. Although they do see him as like a big star, they just don't see him as, you know, they don't see him as a Roman, they don't see him as a Cody, they don't see him as a Brock, they don't see him as like the top tier of
To your point, though, I think the move only makes sense if he's going to be the top guy in AEW, and I don't think either of us think he would be. So it's like, I guess he could be, but I don't know if you'd want to present him as the top babyface in the whole company, do you?
Him and Claudio for the Ring of Honor Championship. Bro.
That's always where Manny was gonna go.
Lanier, for the second part of your question, I was told that there's huge plans for Swerve for the summer, so expect big things from him once he gets this Keith Lee thing out of the way, which I don't think Tony's.
No, he's gonna lose the title shot, innit?
I know that.
Huge plans. We'll see.
We'll see, I guess.
Anyway, let's keep it moving. Keep it moving. I kind of dragged a bit on the Seth thing. My bad. Zaid Nadi 499. Ibi brother, hope you're hanging in with Cody's last. Don't worry, we'll be back up on the block come August. Punky's great, a real wrestler. I like Cody.
Listen,
yeah, man.
I rep real big superstars. You know what I mean? CM Punk and Cody Rhodes. That's as good as it gets. You know, regardless of how mad it makes people. You know, I make no apologies for being a fan.
Living your truth.
Sure.
Bro, $5. Do you feel like Punk showing off was his way of trying to say, let me work the Elite or let me leave? I don't want to work Jericho. I don't think it was that.
I don't think it was that.
I think he would just tell Tony that, you know.
Exactly.
bro. Don't look into it, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that was a very deep dive.
Manny's saying don't look into it.
Yeah, when Manny takes his tinfoil hat off for 2 seconds, you know you've dived pretty deep. You know.
Don't get work, brother. Let me tell you that.
Big hero, Chris, $5, appreciate it. Punk apologising to the Miz before he apologised to the Young Bucks is nasty business. Far forward for $5. Appreciate you as always. Manny, the Julia versus Tam Hair versus Hair White Belt match was from 2021. Yep, Joe already got him on that one, but we was kind of late reading that out. My bad. Mazfan84, $2. Suri versus Hashimoto match was violent as hell. My favourite. Really good shit. Really good shit. Custodian Brian Pillman Jr. $1.99. Appreciate you. Don't respect my pops comparing him to Phil. we spoke about this like last week. We weren't talking about Punk necessarily, but like you know, when any wrestler tries to do like the work shoot thing, and it's just like, bro, you're not Brian Pillman.
Yeah.
And Brian Pillman was. That's what I mean. Like Brian Pillman was around in a different time as well, you know, and he was. It's a combination of loads of things like the Brian Pillman thing. Like I know that Super Chat was only joking, but it just popped me like to kind of talk about like the Brian Pillman thing a bit. I know like we're meant to be finishing, but fucking, it's just like Brian was like legitimately like if he was playing it, whether he was or whether he wasn't, like he legitimately came across like a little bit crazy, a little bit like unpredictable. What happened?
You guys hearing that too?
You
I froze. Oh, okay. Yeah, Pillman. Yeah, Pillman was just like super. Pillman was just like super erratic and like unpredictable and kind of like, you know, it was believable that he was a bit nuts, you know. So when he was doing all this stuff, he like had a certain edge to it. And of course, like, you know, you didn't have Twitter and all these things, and fans didn't know absolutely everything that was going on, and everyone was, you know, the dirt sheets were still around, but not like they are now with constant updates all the time, you know.
Right.
It's just a different time, man. Yeah, perfect storm for him, you know, and the not a perfect storm for the others that try to do that like work shooty stuff now, you know. Shout out Brian Pillman, man. He was it's been like what, he died like nearly 30 years ago or some shit, you know.
97.
And he's still.
Wait, he what?
What?
You gonna say?
Yes, Manny. Brian Pillman passed away in 1997.
No, I was just making sure. I was like, Brian, I thought he was dead. Like, what you guys?
Yes. I thought Manny was finding out now that Pillman Sr.'s not alive.
Oh, bro, that's like you with fucking that was a hilarious one.
Gary Hart.
Yeah, Gary Hart, bro. If we found out like 2 months ago, Joe, that Gary Hart was dead, you know.
He died like 15 years ago, man.
Yeah, bro. The funniest thing is like, it's like the way that he found out was someone said something about like someone was like to ask like someone done one of those tweets like, what would you do in like with this like booking or whatever the fuck, and he was like, oh, I'd have him come out with like Gary Hart or someone, and he was fantasy booking him, and like, he had like 10 replies like, bro, he died 15 years ago.
I will say, for anyone who's still hanging out here, I know Raw started. if you're not familiar with Gary Hart, do some YouTubing. Watch a Gary Hart promo or two. My God, he's one of the great promo guys ever. All-time
Oh,
great
he's
wrestling manager.
yeah,
Incredible.
he's
This
the
is
man.
like when I
Shout out
found out.
Gary Hart, bro.
This is when I found out David Stern died during LeBron's when he got the record for the most points. I said, "Man, what the hell? He died."
Yes. Yeah, he's he's in a better place now. Anyway,
Who, David Stern?
Sure.
yeah, all of them,
All right.
all of them.
All of them.
All right, so please like, subscribe if you haven't already. Always massively appreciate it. We do need the likes, get them up, please. They do go a long way. But yeah, let's wrap this up. Have you got any plugs, Joe? I know you've wrote about 12 reviews today, so I'd like you to
I'm not going
plug
to
them.
plug those. I'm not going to plug them. I'm going to plug Grin Grappler, Rowdy Roddy Piper. That's tomorrow night, 8 Eastern, twitch.tv/late night grin. 2.5 hours about a wrestler you don't care about. Join us live.
Good stuff, Manny, you got anything to plug? Ibu, anything to plug?
My feature that came out 2 days ago, and then the one I'm working on now, I'm rewriting again. And then if anybody has a Big Japan main event, send that my way.
Yeah. Ibu, you got anything you want to plug?
Not really.
No, okay, we're all good. Don't go live tomorrow, people. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, which is I think it's 12:30 here in the UK, which is a bit of a late one, but it's our it's our resident Puro show. They're gonna be reviewing the Big Stardom show and of course talking. They'll talk like some New Japan and pretty much anything else that's been going on in Puro World. There was the Haruki Goto 20th anniversary show over the weekend as well. Popped me to see that, him getting his own little show. But yeah, they'll talk about all that good stuff. So yeah, tomorrow, don't go live. We appreciate it. Please get those likes and subscribes up, and we will catch you tomorrow. Peace.